Welcome, dear friend. Have you ever wondered why some people recover quickly, while others with the very same diagnosis struggle for years? Have you noticed how your body whispers before it shouts, how your shoulders tense in certain conversations, or how your heart races even when you're perfectly safe? There's an ancient conversation happening between your mind and your body, a language most of us have forgotten how to hear. And yet, in quiet monasteries, remote villages, and in the lives of people who carry a rare inner peace, this language was never forgotten. They heal more naturally, age more gracefully, and radiate a calm that feels magnetic. What if I told you their secret isn't complicated? That healing isn't always about adding more to your life, but gently letting go of what was never truly yours to carry. If you're here on this YouTube channel right now, it means something in you is ready for a different kind of medicine. So, settle in. Share in the comments where you're joining us from. It's beautiful to know we're connected across time zones and continents. Find your coziest spot, maybe with a cup of tea or wrapped in something soft, because what we're about to explore together may just change how you understand healing forever. For 2,500 years, Buddhist teachings have offered a gentle truth. Healing doesn't come from force or fixing, but from the quiet art of listening. And tonight, we'll explore 5 timeless principles that show us how the mind, when properly aligned, can invite the body to heal itself. Stay with me, because what comes next might shift the way you see your body and your pain forever. The first principle: your body speaks in whispers. Why do your joints ache more after an argument? Why does your stomach twist before a conversation you've been avoiding? These are not random accidents. Your body isn't malfunctioning. To you, in the oldest language there is, sensation. But most of us have been trained to silence these whispers. We reach for pills to numb tension, distractions to escape unease. But what if your discomfort isn't a problem to fix, but a message to hear? Let me share a story. A woman carried a strange heaviness in her chest for nearly 4 years. Not exactly. Pain's just a pressure, like a weight pressing down on her heart. Doctors found nothing wrong. Diets, supplements, and treatments gave no relief. One evening, tired of searching, she simply sat still. No goal, no fixing, just breathing. And in that stillness, a memory surfaced. The loss of her father, unprocessed grief, unspoken words. She cried softly, not like a dramatic movie scene, but with quiet dignity, as if her body was finally being heard. The next morning, the heaviness softened. It didn't vanish, but it no longer screamed. The message had been acknowledged, and that alone was enough to begin healing. The Buddha once taught, pain is inevitable, suffering is optional. What he meant is this: the body will experience discomfort, but suffering arises when the mind resists, fears, or labels it. Healing begins not when you fight your pain, but when you finally listen. The body as a messenger. Think about the last time your back tightened. Were you carrying more than just groceries? Or when your stomach clenched, was it reacting to food or to someone's words? Your digestive system doesn't just process food, it processes life. And yet so many of us treat our bodies like battlefields. We try to conquer fatigue, silence pain, override tension. But your body isn't fighting you, it's fighting for you. Every symptom is a signal. Every signal is a request. In Zen practice, pain is not the enemy, it's the messenger. And when you honor the messenger, it often transforms into the healer. A story of silence and truth. There was a man plagued by chronic headaches for years. Doctors gave him pills, but nothing worked. At a mindfulness retreat, he discovered something extraordinary. His headaches always followed conversations. Where he didn't speak his truth, his head was literally heavy with unspoken words. Once he saw this, the headaches didn't vanish overnight, but they changed. They became teachers. Each time the pain returned, he asked, "What truth am I avoiding?" Slowly, gently, He began to speak before his body had to shout. That's the shift these teachings invite, from fixing to listening, from controlling to trusting. The body as a teacher in Chant wisdom tells us the body is more than a vessel, it's a sacred teacher. Every ache, every sensation, every tension holds wisdom waiting to be discovered. Your body responds to environments, to people, to memories. Around some people, you feel drained. Around others, you come alive. That's not coincidence. Your body reading reality more honestly than your mind sometimes can. One teacher noticed her throat would tighten in every staff meeting. For months, she blamed stress. But eventually, she realized the truth. It only happened in situations where she felt unheard. Her throat was contracting in anticipation of being silenced. Once she honored that wisdom, she began speaking earlier in meetings, claiming her voice. Slowly, the tightness eased. The conversation you were born to have, your body remembers everything, every kindness, every wound, every word you swallowed. It has never stopped trying to speak with you. And here's the miracle. Even when you've ignored it, criticized it, or taken it for granted, your body has never given up on you. Your heart keeps beating. Your lungs keep breathing. Your cells keep healing. This isn't just biology's love in action. Your body has always been waiting for you to remember that you're on the same team. So tonight, before you sleep, place your hand on your heart. Close your eyes, take 3 deep breaths. Whisper softly, I'm here now. I hear you. Maybe you'll feel nothing at first. That's okay. Or maybe waves of grief, gratitude, or even joy will rise. Whatever comes, let it. That is your body finally speaking, after years of waiting, because healing doesn't always start with doing. Sometimes it begins with listening. If this message resonated with you, remember you're not alone. Our YouTube channel is here to guide you deeper into these timeless practices. Share your reflections in the comments, and let's keep this conversation alive together. Your body has been waiting for you, and the moment you begin to listen, true healing begins. The emotions your body never forgot welcome. Dear friend, let's begin with a truth that's often whispered in ancient wisdom, but rarely spoken in modern life. Your body never forgets what your mind tries to bury. Now, the second principle of this, timeless conversation between mind and body, reveals something astonishing. Your liver remembers your anger. Your gut stores your fear. Your chest holds your grief. But here's what no one tells you. Sometimes the heaviest burdens are not the ones you can see, but the emotions you've been carrying in silence quietly, invisibly for years, even decades. The ancient way of meeting emotion in Zen Buddhism. We don't bypass emotions in the name of peace. We don't try to cover them with a fake smile, nor do we pretend they're gone simply because we ignore them. Instead, we sit with them, we bow to them. Because what you don't feel, you cannot heal. And what you keep avoiding emotionally, your body will eventually carry physically. Think of your body as a living scroll, a sacred autobiography. Every unspoken goodbye, every stifled scream, every whispered, I'm fine when you weren't fine, it all gets written into your tissues. How many years have you been collecting what you were too busy, too scared, or too polite to release? Why? We suffer. The Buddha once taught that we suffer not because we feel, but because we resist feeling. He explained that emotions are like clouds. They form, they move across the sky of our awareness, and then they dissolve. But what happens when you try to stop the clouds from moving? When you grasp them, or when you push them away, they get stuck. The sky becomes heavy, and suffering is born. A story of suppressed grief. There was once a man who attended his first silent meditation retreat. On the second day, during a simple walking meditation, he broke down in tears. When the teacher gently asked what had surfaced, the man whispered, I just realized I never got to grieve my mother. I was too busy taking care of everyone else. That single moment changed his life. Not because he cried, but because for the first time in decades, he allowed it. He had spent so many years being strong, reliable, and unshakable for others that He forgot he too needed to lean on someone. Suppression turns toxic. Suppression is like stagnant water in a pond. Left untouched, it begins to rot. Emotion, when blocked, becomes inflammation. Thoughts, when stuck, become tension. Silence, when forced, becomes sickness. In Buddhist understanding, there are 5 poisons: greed, hatred, delusion, pride, and jealousy. But these emotions only become poisonous when denied and pushed into the shadows of our awareness. When met with mindfulness, however, these same energies transform into wisdom, compassion, and clarity. The library of unexpressed life. Your body doesn't just carry today's worries, it holds the entire library of your unexpressed life. The tears you didn't cry at your father's funeral because you had to be strong, the rage you swallowed when treated unfairly because speaking up felt unsafe, the fear you've carried since childhood, whispering, "You're not enough, you're not safe, you're not worthy of love." Every culture, in its own way, has taught us emotional suppression. Big boys don't cry. Good girls don't get angry. Don't be a burden. Keep your chin up. These phrases may seem harmless, but they become invisible cages around our hearts. The attic of forgotten feelings. Imagine your body as a house. Every unspoken emotion is like a box shoved into the attic. At first, there's plenty of room. You can pretend the boxes don't exist. But over the years, the weight grows, the floorboards creak, the beams sag, and eventually, the house body begins to cry out, "Please, can we unpack some of these boxes? I'm getting tired of carrying what was never meant to be stored forever." The body's emotional geography. Ancient wisdom tells us that emotions don't just float aimlessly. The body stores them with elegant logic. The heart carries heartbreak and love. The throat holds unspoken words. The stomach digests not only food, but life experiences. The back shoulders, burdens literal and metaphorical, is beginning to confirm what the ancients always knew. Trauma and emotion live in the body. Stories have released their woman who suffered from chronic digestive issues. No doctor could fully explain it. One day, she realized it wasn't just about food. It was about what she couldn't stomach in her life: a draining job, a toxic relationship, the dreams she had swallowed for the sake of others. When she began digesting these truths, her physical digestion began to heal. Another man suffered shoulder pain for nearly a decade. No massage, no therapy, worked in quiet reflection. He suddenly realized, "I've been carrying my father's responsibilities since I was 18. His father had died young, and he had stepped into the role of provider long before his time. His shoulders weren't just heavy with muscles, they were heavy with grief, duty, and unspoken weight." That realization didn't cure him overnight, but it began the slow unraveling of pain because he finally acknowledged what he had been holding. Emotions. Our teacher's emotions aren't enemies, they're messengers. Anger shows you where your boundaries were crossed. Sadness reveals what you loved deeply. Fear points toward what matters most to you. When embraced, anger becomes power. Sadness becomes compassion. Fear becomes wisdom. But when ignored, they transform into the very symptoms you're trying to heal. The guest house of the heart. In Buddhist tradition, there's a metaphor. Your heart is like a guest house. Every emotion, joy, sorrow, anger, fear, is a guest that knocks on the door. Some guests are delightful. You want them to stay. Others are difficult. You wish they'd leave. But all are temporary visitors, and each carries a gift. If you're willing to welcome them in, why we fear feeling, many people worry. If I start feeling what I've been avoiding, I'll never stop crying. I'll drown in my rage. I'll collapse under the sadness. But emotions, when met with awareness, don't last forever. They move through you like rain through soil. It's only when resisted that they get stuck like water trapped behind a dam. Practical practices. So, how do we begin this conversation with our emotions? Letter to your body. Write a letter that begins with "Dear Body." Say what you've never said. Apologize for ignoring its signals. Thank it for carrying you through life. Then, on another page, let your body write back. You may be surprised at the wisdom that flows through your pen. Hands on the heart each night, place both hands on your chest. Breathe deeply. Ask gently, what have you been holding for me? What are you ready to release? Sometimes the answer comes as tears, sometimes as silence. Both are sacred. Emotional sitting in Zen monasteries, monks practice sitting quietly with difficult emotions until they dissolve, not to get rid of them, but to understand them, to see that they rise, peak, and fall like waves. The lotus in the mud Buddhist tradition often reminds us of the lotus flower. It blooms in the muddiest waters, yet emerges pure and radiant. The mud is not the enemy of the lotus, it is its nourishment. In the same way, your pain, your grief, your unexpressed emotions are not obstacles. To your peace, they are the soil from which compassion and wisdom grow. The invitation imagines sitting across from your body as if it were a dear friend you haven't spoken to in years. What would you say? What would you apologize for? Perhaps you'd whisper, "I'm sorry I didn't listen. I'm sorry I silenced you. I'm sorry I carried everyone else's pain, but ignored your own." And then, if you're truly brave, you'd ask, "What have you been holding for me? What do you need me to finally feel?" The answers may not be easy, but they will always be honest. Coming home to yourself, this is not a breakdown, it's breakthrough. This is not falling apart, it's finally coming together. Your body is not your enemy. Your emotions are not your problems. They are your guides, your teachers, the proof that you are alive. And once you begin to release what you've been carrying, once you start this sacred conversation with your own heart, you discover something. Miraculous healing is not only about letting go, it's also about learning where to place your attention, moment by moment, and that, my friend, leads us to the next principle. This moment contains everything. Third principle carries perhaps the most revolutionary truth of all. What if healing isn't hidden in tomorrow's appointment, next year's wellness trend, or some distant future moment when everything finally falls into place? What if healing isn't something you're chasing, but something you're already standing inside? What if everything you truly need is contained within this exact breath, this present heartbeat, this simple moment of being alive? In Zen Buddhism, there's a saying, "The past is memory, the future is imagination, but only the present is real." Yet most of us live as if the opposite were true. We replay yesterday's regrets like a broken film reel. We fast forward into tomorrow's worries that haven't even happened. Meanwhile, this moment, the only one that's real, slips by unnoticed. Like a loyal friend, we keep standing up. The Buddha himself discovered something extraordinary under the Bodhi tree. He realized that all suffering comes from what we might call mental time travel. The restless journey between past and future is what robs us of peace. But when the mind comes home, fully into this moment, something profound happens. Peace is no longer something we chase. It's revealed as what has been here all along, waiting beneath the noise. Presence and pain. Here's a surprising twist. Suffering doesn't come only from pain. It comes from being mentally absent when pain arises. When you are fully present with discomfort, its nature changes. The pain may still be there, but the resistance to it, the story about it, the fear of it, those dissolve. Think about the last time you were completely absorbed in something beautiful, maybe a sunset, a song that moved you, or holding someone you love. In those moments, where was your anxiety? Where were your regrets and fears? They weren't gone because you solved them. They were gone because you were fully here, a story of healing through presence there. Was once someone who lived with chronic pain and a restless, anxious mind. One afternoon, exhausted from years of struggle, they sat beneath an old Bodhi tree in their garden. They weren't trying to meditate. They weren't trying to fix anything. They were simply too tired to keep running, so they just sat, watching the leaves sway, feeling their breath, hearing the subtle sounds around them. For the first time in years, they weren't chasing a solution. They weren't lost in yesterday or tomorrow. They were simply here. And in that stillness, something extraordinary happened. The pain didn't vanish, but their relationship to it transformed. Instead of fighting, they breathed with it. Instead of fearing it, they held it with compassion. The anxiety didn't disappear, but it lost its grip. It became just another passing sensation, like the wind in the leaves. That day, they realized something life-changing. For years, they had been living not just with pain, but with all the thoughts and fears about the pain. And it was those thoughts, not the pain itself, that had been the heaviest burden. This is why Buddhist masters call presence medicine. It doesn't erase what hurts, but it reveals the gap between what's actually happening and what we think is happening. And most of our suffering lives in that gap. The snow globe mind. Think of your mind like a snow globe. When shaken, everything blurs. Confusion, chaos, overwhelm. But when you set it down, the flakes settle and the clear scene beneath is revealed. Mind works the same way. When shaken by regrets and worries, clarity disappears. But when you return to presence, the mental snow settles, and the peace that was always here becomes visible again. Everyday presence, the most beautiful thing about this moment is that it's always available. You don't need special conditions. You don't need to be on a retreat or in perfect health. Presence can be practiced anywhere. You can wash dishes with the same reverence monks bring to meditation, feeling the warm water, the soap, the rhythm of your hands. You can walk to your mailbox with full awareness, feeling each step touch the ground. In Buddhist monasteries, ordinary tasks, sweeping the floor, tending the garden, preparing food are done with deep awareness. The monks understand, presence doesn't need special circumstances. Presence makes every circumstance sacred. Even brushing your teeth can become a small ritual of mindfulness. Even drinking coffee can become the most important thing you do that morning, because in that moment, it truly is. Small acts of presence add up. Tiny moments of awareness create momentum, building your capacity to stay grounded even in turbulence. A simple practice. Here's a gentle exercise you can try right now for the next 3 minutes. Wherever you are, simply breathe as you inhale. Silently say, "Now is safe." As you exhale, silently say, "Now is enough." Breathe in, "Now is safe." Breathe out, "Now is enough." You're not trying to convince yourself that life is perfect. You're simply reminding yourself that this moment right now contains everything you need to breathe, to be aware, to exist. Presence as medicine. Presence doesn't mean life will always be pleasant. Sometimes it means sitting with sadness, anxiety, or discomfort. But even then, presence transforms. Pain is what happens. Suffering is what the mind adds to it. Presence separates the two. You may still take medicine for a headache or seek support for sadness, but you do so from compassion, not panic. Presence also changes how we relate to ourselves. When you're fully here with your own struggles, you naturally become kinder toward yourself. It's hard to judge yourself harshly when you're really paying attention. Think of how you'd treat a dear friend in pain with patience, listening, compassion. Presence allows you to offer the same to yourself. Coming home, most people live slightly outside their own lives, always leaning into the next moment, always missing the one they're in. But you don't have to wait to arrive. You're already here. You don't have to earn peace. It's already within you. You don't have to become worthy of healing. You already are. This moment contains everything, every breath, every heartbeat, every chance to come home to yourself. And as you learn to string together these moments of presence, you discover something extraordinary. You're not just healing, you're awakening to the life that has been here all along, patiently waiting for you to notice. This is the essence of the third principle. Presence is the medicine. This moment is enough. The stories that age us. A Buddhist perspective on growing older. The fourth principle reveals something surprising about aging. Something we rarely pause to consider: have you ever noticed how quickly a child bounces back from a fall, but how slowly an adult recovers from a disappointment? A child scrapes their knee, cries for a moment, then is back running and laughing as if nothing happened. But we, as adults, can carry the emotional bruises of disappointment, not just for weeks, but for months, sometimes for years. Why is that? What if the pain of growing older isn't only coming from your body, but from the stories you've attached to it? What if it's not your joints that are aging fastest, or your memory, or even your energy levels, but your belief system? The hidden weight of stories in Zen Buddhism, it's said that suffering isn't caused by what happens to us, but by our attachment to how we wish things would stay. And nowhere is this more evident than in aging. Think about the subtle stories. We tell ourselves every day, "I shouldn't feel this tired. I used to be able to do this so easily. I look so old compared to before." These aren't just harmless thoughts. These inner narratives become the architecture of our reality. Science even shows that our beliefs about aging shape our biology. People who see aging as a process of growth and wisdom tend to live longer, healthier lives. Those who see it as only decline often experience faster deterioration. Your cells are listening. The body responds to the story you tell about it. Youth worship versus wisdom culture in our modern culture. We've been conditioned to worship youth, to chase it, inject it, filter it, and fear its loss. But in the Buddhist understanding, isn't something to fear. It's something to bow to. Look at a tree in autumn. It doesn't grieve the falling leaves. It doesn't resist the changing seasons. It releases what no longer serves, trusting that what falls creates space for what comes next. Aging in this light is not decay. It's a return to essence, to clarity, to what truly matters. The woman who stopped believing she was old there was once a woman who seemed to radiate light. It wasn't her skin, her clothes, or cosmetics that made her glow. It was her presence. When people sat with her, they felt calm, as though peace itself had taken human form. One day, someone asked her, "What's your secret? How do you stay so radiant?" She smiled and said something remarkable. "I stopped believing I was old." Now, she wasn't in denial. Her body had changed. She had arthritis. Her hands trembled slightly when she poured tea. She had lost her partner of 40 years. But she carried something more powerful than denials. She carried dignity, that quiet grace that comes from being present, not perfect. She explained, "The body changes. That's nature. But every morning I wake up and say thank you for another day of breathing. I don't say thank you because everything is perfect. I say thank you because I am here to experience imperfection. That itself is a miracle." That is the essence of aging gracefully, not fighting change, but transforming your relationship. With it ripening, not decaying. Think of aging like the ripening of fruit. When a fruit is young, it looks perfect, firm, glossy, unblemished. But often, it's sour, incomplete, lacking depth as it ripens. Its skin may soften. It may develop spots, but its flavor becomes sweet, nourishing, and full of complexity. Human beings are the same. Our outer layers may wrinkle, but our inner essence deepens. If you choose to see it this way, your life isn't falling apart, it's ripening. You're becoming medicine for others, wisdom for the world, depth for those still learning what it means to be human. But this only happens if you change. The story you tell yourself about aging, the man who finally became Relay Man once reflected. On his own journey, in my 20s, I tried to be impressive. In my 30s, I tried to be successful. In my 40s, I tried to be right. But now, in my later years, I'm finally trying to be real. And he discovered something powerful. Being real is the most attractive thing of all. Authenticity often emerges with age, not because life becomes easier, but because we stop wasting energy on pretense. We stop performing for audiences that don't matter and start living for what does. Humor acceptance, and freedom, of course. Ripening doesn't mean you love every new ache, every gray hair, every sound your body makes when you get out of bed. Be honest, some mornings feel like a game of what new noise will my knees make today. But here's the beauty. Humor becomes medicine. Laughter becomes resilience. Those laugh lines on your face, they're maps of the joy you've lived, that slower pace. It's an invitation to notice the details you once rushed past. Acceptance doesn't mean resignation. It means freedom. The shift from knowing to understanding, there's a profound difference. Between knowing and understanding, you can know that everything changes intellectually, but you only understand it after decades of watching seasons turn, people come and go, and problems that once felt unbearable slowly fade. This is the wisdom of age, the kind that can't be Googled or found in books. It only comes from lived experience. Young people may have information, but elders carry perspective. They know which information matters. They've seen patterns. They've witnessed that most fears never materialize, that heartbreak can heal, that time softens even the hardest edges of grief. The courage of authentic boldness, another gift of age, is what I call authentic boldness. When you've lived long enough, you stop caring so much about the opinions of others. You see how temporary most judgments are. This doesn't mean you become harsh or inconsiderate. It means you finally find the courage to be yourself, to say what you mean, to wear what makes you comfortable, to live for what matters to you. This isn't arrogance, it's liberation. Rewriting the story of aging. Remember, the stories you tell yourself about aging will determine how you age. If your inner story is, "I'm falling apart," you'll live into that story. If your inner story is, "I'm ripening like good wine," your body, mind, and spirit will begin to align with that belief. What if tomorrow morning, instead of saying, "I'm getting old," you said, "I'm growing deeper. I'm accumulating wisdom like treasure. Every year, I've become more myself." These aren't empty affirmations. They are shifts in perception that change how your body feels, how your mind functions, and how your spirit radiates. Growing old versus growing up in Buddhism. There's a teaching about the difference between growing old and growing up. Growing old is what happens to your body. That's inevitable. Growing up is what happens to your spirit. That's optional. Some people grow old without ever growing up, remaining stuck in complaints, bitterness, or clinging to youth. But others use aging as a spiritual practice, maturing into wisdom, compassion, and grace. The invitation of aging, the fear of aging, often comes from a fear of irrelevance. But relevance isn't about youth. It's about presence. It's about compassion. It's about becoming someone who listens deeply, loves intentionally, and shares perspective that only decades of living can provide. Your body isn't betraying you. It's inviting you into a deeper understanding of what it means to be human. It's teaching you that beauty is not just youth, that strength is not just physical, and that value is not just productivity. It's teaching you that every season of life has its gifts if you're willing to see them at final reflections. So let me ask you, what belief about aging have you inherited that no longer serves you? What story are you ready to release? Maybe it's the story that your best years are behind you. Maybe it's the story that aging equals decline. What if you chose instead to believe that aging means ripening? That with every year, your essence is distilled, refined, and made more potent? Because in truth, aging is not the end of the story. It's the unfolding of a deeper one. And when you embrace that truth, you stop living as though life is slipping away and start living as though life is deepening into its richest chapters. The medicine of meaning, the fifth and final principle, holds the most transformative truth of all. It is a truth so powerful, so deeply woven into the fabric of human existence, that once you see it, you cannot unsee it. People don't truly die of illness. They die of hopelessness. They don't fade away simply because their bodies give out. They fade away because they have forgotten why they want their bodies to keep going. They lose their will to heal, not because healing is impossible, but because They have lost sight of what makes healing worthwhile. The body follows the spirit, and when the spirit loses its reason to rise, the body soon follows. The energy of purpose in Buddhism, there is a teaching called right livelihood. At first glance, many think it's about the kind of work you do, but in truth, it is much deeper. It is not just about your job, but about the energy behind everything you do. It's the understanding that when your actions align with your heart, when your days serve something larger than your immediate comfort, peace follows naturally. And peace, dear friend, is profoundly healing. But let me clarify something. Purpose doesn't need to be grand. It doesn't mean you need to launch a foundation, write a best-selling book, or change the world in ways that everyone can see. Purpose can be quiet. It can be small. It can be as simple as teaching your granddaughter how to bake bread. Just as your grandmother once taught you, it can be tending to a little garden in your backyard because you love how the morning light falls gently on the leaves. The lotus, after all, doesn't bloom in clean, manicured soil. It rises out of the mud, out of the darkness, out of the messiest parts of the pond. That is where strength is born. That is where purpose often reveals itself. Not in the highlight reels of life, but in the ordinary moments when you choose to show up for something beyond yourself. The monk and his legs, there's a story I cherish, one that captures this truth perfectly. A monk who had spent decades teaching meditation at his monastery continued to rise before dawn every single day to guide morning practice. He could have easily passed this responsibility to younger monks, but he chose not to. One day, a visitor asked him, "Why do you still do this? You've taught for so long. Why not let your students carry the practice forward?" The monk smiled gently, pointed to his legs, and said, "Teaching is why my legs still work." He wasn't being metaphorical. He meant it, literally. His strength, his vitality, his resilience. These were not merely the result of exercise or good genetics. They were sustained by meaning. His body worked because his spirit had something worth carrying it forward. This is the secret. When your body serves a purpose that feeds your soul, it responds in kind. Your heart beats stronger, your energy flows freer, and even your cells seem to remember they, too, have a role to play in keeping you alive. A nurse who found her way back there was once a woman, a nurse who had dedicated decades of her life to healing others. But after retiring, she fell into a deep depression. Her days felt empty. She felt invisible, as if the world had no more use for her. Her body, too, began to mirror her spirit. She felt heavy, tired, achy. She began to wonder whether her best years were truly behind her. One morning, while wandering aimlessly through her local library, she stumbled into the children's section during story time. The volunteer reader had failed to show up, and the librarian looked panicked, trying to manage a group of restless children. Something stirred inside her. Without thinking, she stepped forward and offered to read. As she began, something magical happened. Her voice, once dull with disuse, grew warm and animated. Her back straightened. Her heart lifted. That one small act became a weekly commitment. Then it grew into special programs, and soon her life was transformed. Her depression lifted not because of new medication, but because she remembered who she was, a healer. Her energy improved, her pain diminished, her sleep deepened when he asked her what had changed in her treatment. She smiled softly and said, "I remembered what I'm here for." That, my friend, is the medicine of meaning, healing beyond the self-purpose doesn't just improve your mood, it literally improves your biology. When you have something to wake up for, your nervous system responds differently to stress. Your immune system fights harder. Even the aging process slows. This is not wishful thinking. It's ancient wisdom confirmed again and again in modern research. Meaning keeps us alive. But here's the beautiful part. Your purpose doesn't have to be monumental. Sometimes the most powerful purposes are the simplest. Maybe your purpose is listening, truly listening. In a world where so few people feel heard, maybe your purpose is creating beauty through music, cooking, painting, gardening. Maybe your purpose is simply being a peaceful presence in a chaotic space, reminding others that calm is possible. The Buddhist teaching of DNA, or selfless giving, reminds us, when you give of yourself, your time, your presence, your attention, you are not depleting yourself. You are aligning yourself with the flow of life. And in that flow, healing happens. The man on the bench there was a man who discovered this in the simplest way imaginable. After retiring, he felt useless, invisible, but instead of succumbing to despair, he began sitting on a bench outside the grocery store every morning. He greeted people as they came and went. He asked about their day. He smiled at mothers with crying babies. He encouraged tired workers. He waved at children. It sounds so small, but soon, people looked forward to seeing him. He became a quiet anchor in the community. And here's the miraculous part: his chronic back pain, which had tormented him for years, began to ease. Not because the bench was therapeutic for his spine, but because serving others was therapeutic for his soul. Small acts, great meaning. So what if you don't know what your grand purpose is? What if you feel lost, disconnected, too tired to imagine? Something big. Start small. Start with the tiniest acts of service. Hold the door for someone whose hands are full. Compliment a cashier who looks weary. Send a text to someone you haven't spoken to in months. Feed the birds in your yard. Water a neighbor's plants. Offer a smile to a stranger. These are not trivial gestures. They are that weave you back into the great web of life. They remind you that your presence matters, that you are still part of the story, that you can still make a difference. Transforming pain into medicine. Buddhist teachings speak of turning poison into medicine. The very experiences that once threatened to destroy you can become your greatest gifts when used to help others. The addict who recovers becomes a counselor. The grieving parent becomes a voice for child safety. The survivor of illness becomes a beacon of hope for the newly diagnosed. Your suffering doesn't have to be wasted. It can be transformed into wisdom, compassion, and service. Your greatest wounds can become your greatest offerings. The gift of aging. So often we see aging as loss. But from the perspective of meaning, aging is accumulation. Every year you live adds to your storehouse of wisdom, empathy, and understanding. These are treasures no one younger than you can yet possess. And these treasures are not just for you. They are gifts for others. The grandmother who gives unconditional love, the neighbor who listens without judgment, the elder who remembers stories no one else remembers. Purpose in later years isn't about what you can do. It's about who you can be, the everyday bodhisattva. In Buddhism, there is the beautiful image of the bodhisattva, being who dedicates their life to reducing suffering and increasing joy for all. But you don't need to be a monk or a saint. To live like a bodhisattva, you just need to wake up each day with one intention: to be helpful, to be kind, to make life a little lighter for someone else. When you focus on how you can serve, you stop being consumed by how much you suffer. When you give, you discover you already have enough. This too is the medicine of meaning. A final question, and so, dear friend, I leave you with this. In the quiet of this moment, what is one reason you still want to wake up tomorrow? Not because others expect you to, not because you feel you should, but because something deep inside you still whispers, stay? Maybe it's to see the sunrise. Maybe it's to hear a loved one's laugh. Maybe it's to plant one more seed, to sing one more song, to share one more smile. Whatever it is, however small it may seem, ignore it. It is enough, because you are not just a body aging through time. You are medicine walking around in human form. You are healing in progress. You are meaning unfolding. And that, my dear friend, is the most healing truth of all. Carrying this peace forward, as we reach this moment together, let us pause. Let us truly pause, not just with our bodies, but with our entire being. Notice what has shifted within you since we began this journey. Perhaps it is subtle, like the faint loosening of a knot inside your chest. Perhaps it is louder, like a sudden realization that feels like sunlight breaking through clouds. Whatever it is, honor it. This is the quiet work of transformation, and it begins exactly where you are. You have walked through 5 principles, not as abstract theories, but as living truths waiting to be remembered. Along the way, you've discovered that your body does not betray you, it speaks to you. Its aches and tensions, its rhythms and pauses are not signs of malfunction, but whispers of wisdom. The body is not a battlefield to conquer, but a temple that invites you to listen. Each heartbeat, each breath, each step carries the message. I am alive. I am guiding you. You have learned that emotions are not enemies to suppress, but allies. Waiting for acknowledgement, anger, fear, sadness, joy has its place in the great orchestra of your life. When met with compassion, they soften. When welcomed instead of resisted, they reveal their secret medicine. Grief carries love. Anger carries passion. Fear carries wisdom. Even your most difficult feelings are not punishments, they are teachers. And the moment you stop fighting them, you discover that peace was never outside you. It was waiting beneath the noise all along. You have touched the medicine of presence, the sacred truth that healing is not hiding in tomorrow's promise or yesterday's memory. Healing is here, in this breath, in this stillness, in this ordinary moment that you and I share right now. This present moment is not small, it is vast. It contains every possibility, every chance for renewal, every breath of freedom. Nothing more is needed. The present is enough because you are enough. You have also seen that the stories we carry about aging shape our very experience of life. A child stumbles, cries, and runs again, but an adult often carries disappointment for years. Not because the body has failed, but because the story told about that moment lingers like a shadow. When you believe aging is decline, you shrink into fear. But when you embrace aging as ripening, as deepening, as blossoming into wisdom, then every day becomes a new chance to live fully. Age does not define your spirit. It only gives it more texture, more depth, more beauty, and you have remembered that purpose, whether grand or humble, loud or quiet, breathes life into every cell of your being. Purpose is not reserved for heroes or saints. It is not something distant to be discovered one day. Purpose is woven into your daily actions, the kindness in your words, the care you show your body, the love you extend to a friend, the small service you offer to the world. Even the quietest purpose is powerful enough to transform despair into hope, fatigue into energy, and existence into meaning. These 5 principles: listening to the body, welcoming emotions, living in the present, rewriting your stories, and remembering your purpose are not just lessons, they are invitations. Invitations to live more deeply, more courageously, more joyfully. They invite you to age not with fear, but with grace. To heal not by fixing, but by remembering that you were never broken to begin with. The Buddha once taught that healing happens not when we fix ourselves, but when we remember our inherent wholeness. You are not a problem to solve. You are not a collection of flaws waiting to be corrected. You are a mystery to be lived, a presence to be honored, a gift to be shared. So, as we carry this piece forward, I invite you to imagine your life like a garden. The principles you have learned are the seeds. Some will sprout quickly, others may take time. But if you water them with awareness, nurture them with patience, and protect them with kindness, they will grow into something beautiful, something that sustains you and inspires those around you. Take this piece into your days, into your mornings when the sun first touches the earth, into your meals, tasting not just food, but the nourishment of life itself, into your conversations, where listening deeply may heal someone else's unseen wound. into your rest, where sleep is not escape but renewal. Carry it into your challenges, where peace will remind you of your strength. Carry it into your joys, where peace will deepen your gratitude. Remember, healing is not a destination. It is a way of walking, a way of living gently, consciously, with love for the person you are and the person you are becoming. Even in moments of doubt, peace is here. Even when life feels chaotic, peace is underneath. Even when the mind screams otherwise, your heart still whispers, all is well. You are whole, so may you be well, may you be at peace. May you walk gently with yourself, may you remember your wholeness, and may your healing ripple outward, touching every life you encounter, like a candle that lights another without losing its own flame. When you carry it, others feel it. When you live it, others remember their own. Carry this peace forward, dear friend, into every breath, every step, every moment, and let it remind you again and again that you are whole, you are worthy, and you are free. Chapter 1. The Silent Medicine of Awareness in the Mist-Covered Valleys of Ancient China. There were monasteries where life moved in silence. Monks walked barefoot along stone paths, each step in harmony with the earth. In those places of stillness, they often repeated a saying passed down through generations. The first medicine is not a herb, nor a pill, but awareness itself. This was not just a poetic thought. It was a truth observed through centuries of experience. The body, when ignored, carries tension like hidden knots. The heart, when burdened by distraction, beats out of rhythm. The mind, when restless, spreads its unease into every muscle. But when one remembers awareness, when one returns to presence, healing begins without external force, the forgotten cry of the body in our daily lives. We often treat the body as a machine, a servant we command, pushing it to its limits. Without listening, we silence its small whispers, slight fatigue, tension in the shoulders, a racing heartbeat. We dismiss them until they grow louder, until the body cries out through illness, chronic pain, or exhaustion. Zen Buddhism teaches us something radical. The body is not just flesh and bone. It is a mirror of the mind. When the mind is restless, the body follows with sleepless nights, shallow breathing, and tight muscles. When the mind is calm, the body softens, breath deepens, and natural repair begins. Illness, from this view, is not just an accident of biology, it is also the echo of forgotten awareness. The dialogue between body and mind, the Buddha once said, to keep the body in good health is a duty. Otherwise, we shall not be able to keep our minds strong and clear. Awareness is that bridge, a silent dialogue between body and mind. When you bring attention to your breath, your nervous system shifts. When you feel your steps on the ground, stress levels decrease. When you observe pain instead of resisting it, tension loosens. This is not mystical thinking, but biological reality. Science now confirms what Zen masters practiced. Mindfulness lowers cortisol, reduces blood pressure, and supports immune function. Awareness is not a concept, it is medicine, a Zen story. The monk who could not heal is a story of a young monk in Japan who fell ill. He visited healers, ate prescribed herbs, and practiced special breathing techniques. Yet his condition worsened. Frustrated, he went to his master and asked, "Why does my sickness not leave me, even though I practice the methods of healing?" The master looked at him with kindness and replied, "You are always trying to escape the sickness. You resist it, you reject it, you try to push it away, but awareness is not resistance. Sit with your sickness. Listen to it. It has something to teach you." The monk obeyed. He stopped resisting. Instead, he sat quietly each day, simply observing his pain, breathing with it, becoming aware of it. To his surprise, the sickness no longer controlled him. The pain softened. His body slowly began to heal. This story reveals an important truth. Awareness is not about forcing the body to be healthy. It is about creating the conditions for the body to heal itself. Guided reflection. One mindful breath. Close your eyes for a moment. Place one hand gently on your chest, the other on your belly. Take a slow inhale, feeling the air entering your lungs. Notice how your chest rises, how your belly expands. Hold it softly for a second. Then exhale slowly, feeling your body release. That single breath, you have already shifted your physiology. Your heart rate slows, your blood vessels relax, your muscles loosen. The body responds immediately to awareness. Imagine doing this not once, but 10 times or 100 times throughout your day. The medicine is always available, waiting for your attention. Why awareness heals when you live distracted? Your nervous system is trapped in survival mode. Your body produces stress hormones, tightening muscles, increasing blood pressure, and suppressing digestion. This constant tension creates fertile ground for disease. But awareness interrupts that cycle. It activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the body's natural state of repair. Digestion improves, the heart finds rhythm, the immune system strengthens. The body, left to its own wisdom, begins healing. Awareness is like a gentle light in a dark room. It doesn't fight the darkness, it simply illuminates what was hidden, allowing balance to return. The lake and the storm. The Zen masters often compared the mind to a lake. When winds of worry blow, the surface is disturbed, waves rise, and the water becomes muddy. In such water, you cannot see clearly. But when the winds settle, the lake becomes still, and its surface reflects the sky. The body is the same. Stress is the storm that stirs up illness. Awareness is the calm that allows healing to rise. Imagine your body as that lake. Each time you bring awareness to your breath, to your step, to your posture, the waves begin to soften. Slowly, clarity returns. In that clarity, healing is possible. Everyday practice of awareness is not something reserved for meditation halls or monasteries. It is a medicine you can take anywhere, at any time. While eating, notice the taste, the texture, the smell. Chew slowly. Let the body receive the food with gratitude. While walking, feel the ground beneath your feet. Walk as if kissing the earth while working. Pause every hour. Take one deep, conscious breath. Release the shoulders. Smile softly. While resting, instead of scrolling through distractions, sit quietly for a few minutes. Listen to your heartbeat. Every act of awareness is a dose of natural healing. A blessing of awareness. The monks of old often concluded their teachings not with theory, but with a blessing. If you are listening or reading these words now, allow this blessing to touch you. May your breath remind you that life itself is medicine. May your awareness return to you in times of stress. May your body and mind meet in harmony. May you walk through each day knowing that the first medicine is already within you. Closing reflection like water that becomes clear when still. Your body heals more easily when your mind becomes calm. You do not need to search far. You do not need to force healing. You need only to return again and again to the silent medicine of awareness, a foundation upon which all other healing rests. Chapter 2. The Medicine of the Breath-in, the Heart of Zen Practice. There is one teaching that shines brighter than all others, the teaching of the breath. The Buddha himself, after years of ascetic struggle and meditation experiments, found his awakening not through struggle, but through simple presence, by sitting under the Bodhi tree, watching the breath rise and fall. Apana means exhalation. Sati means awareness. It is the art of being fully alive with each breath. A Zen master once told his disciple, "If you can take one breath in full awareness, you are already touching the miracle of healing." It may sound simple, perhaps too simple for our modern minds, but within that simplicity lies profound medicine. The breath, bridge between body and mind. The breath is not only air moving in and out, it is the meeting point of body and mind. Think for a moment. When you are anxious, your breath becomes shallow. When you are angry, it becomes sharp. When you are calm, it slows and deepens. The breath reflects the state of the mind instantly. But here lies the secret. Just as the mind shapes the breath can also shape the mind. By breathing slowly and consciously, you calm the nervous system, reduce stress hormones, and guide the mind towards stillness. This is why Zen masters call the breath a bridge. It connects the restless storms of thought with the silent wisdom of the body. It is the rope that pulls us back into the present moment. The science of healing breath thousands of years ago. The Buddha discovered this truth through direct experience. Today, modern science confirms it. Stress relief, slow, deep breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, lowering cortisol and adrenaline. This creates a state of rest and repair. Improved digestion by calming the nervous system. Mindful breathing improves gut function and reduces digestive disorders. Balanced heart, regular breath practice lowers blood pressure and slows the heartbeat, reducing strain on the cardiovascular system. Immunity boost, mindful breathing. Strengthens immune response, making the body more resilient. Mental clarity. Breathing practices increase oxygen flow to the brain, sharpening memory, focus, and creativity. What Zen monks discovered in silence, science now echoes with data. Breath is medicine, not imagined, but measurable. A Zen story. The student and the master's candle one evening. A student asked his Zen master, "What is the most powerful practice for healing the body and mind?" The master held up a small candle. He lit it and said, "This flame lives because of oxygen, because of breath. Without breath, the flame dies. Your life is the same. Without awareness of breath, you are only half alive." The student bowed, realizing that breath was not something to be taken for granted. Each inhalation was a gift, each exhalation a release. From that day, he treated every breath as sacred, and his life grew lighter and healthier. Guided practice, the healing cycle. Of breath, let us now enter a simple practice, a doorway into natural healing. Sit comfortably, rest your body upright but relaxed. Let your shoulders drop. Place your hands gently on your lap. Inhale through the nose for 4 counts. Feel the cool air filling your lungs, expanding your chest and belly. Hold gently. For 2 counts, do not strain. Simply allow the oxygen to nourish every cell. Exhale slowly through the mouth for 6 counts. Release tension, fatigue, and toxins with the breath. Repeat for 10 cycles. Allow yourself to sink deeper. With each breath, like waves calming a restless sea. Notice how your shoulders soften. Notice how your heartbeat slows. Notice how your mind begins to clear, like clouds drifting from a blue sky. This is your medicine chest. Always available, always free. The hidden power of the exhale. Many people focus only on the inhale, thinking life is about taking in, but Zen masters remind us that the exhale is where true healing begins. When you exhale deeply, you activate the body's relaxation response. Toxins leave, tension dissolves, the body resets. Without the exhale, there is no space for new life to enter. The Buddha often described the breath as a cycle of birth and death. Inhale is birth, life rushing in. Exhale is death releasing what no longer serves. And in between is a silence, a stillness that carries wisdom. To meditate on breath is to meditate on life itself. Breath and awareness of impermanence. Each breath is unique. No 2 inhalations are the same. No 2 exhalations repeat. Once a breath leaves, it never returns. To live with awareness of breath is to live with awareness of impermanence. This is one of the Buddha's deepest teachings, that all things arise and pass away. Breath is our daily reminder of this truth. And yet, impermanence is not something to fear. It is the foundation of healing. Just as tension can arise, it can also dissolve. Just as illness can appear, so too can health return. The breath teaches us that nothing is fixed, not even suffering. The breath as a mirror of emotions in, Practice invites us to observe how breath changes with emotions. When anxious, the breath is fast and shallow. When sad, the breath feels heavy. When joyful, the breath flows freely. When calm, the breath is deep and balanced. By simply noticing the breath, you become aware of your emotional state without judgment. Awareness itself begins to heal. For when you see the storm clearly, it starts to lose its power over you. Everyday breathing practices awareness of breath is not confined to meditation halls. It can be woven into the fabric of daily life, morning awakening. Upon waking, take 5 deep breaths before rising. Begin the day with clarity. During stress, when anger or fear rises, pause and take 3 slow breaths. This breaks the cycle of reaction. Eating mindfully, before your first bite, take 1 conscious breath. It prepares the body for digestion. Walking meditation, match your steps with breath. Inhale for 2 steps, exhale for 2 steps. Before sleep, breathe slowly and deeply for 10 cycles. Let the body sink into rest. With these practices, your life becomes infused with healing moments. A blessing of the breath. The ancient Zen teachers often ended with a blessing, reminding disciples that the breath itself carries compassion. May each inhale fill you with peace. May each exhale release your suffering. May your breath guide you back to the present. May you remember that within your breath lies your healing. Closing reflection, the breath is not merely air. It is the pulse of life, the bridge between body and spirit. Each mindful inhale nourishes. Each mindful exhale heals. Each cycle of breath is a renewal. In Zen Buddhism, we do not chase healing outside ourselves. We return to the breath again and again until we realize the miracle was always here. So the next time you feel lost, tired, or unwell, remember, the greatest medicine is already flowing within you, waiting for your awareness. Take 1 mindful breath. That is where healing begins. Chapter 3. The Healing of Letting Go, the Quiet Halls of Buddhist Monasteries. One teaching echoes again and again. True healing begins not by holding on, but by letting go. Illness does not always come from what we eat, drink, or breathe. Often, it comes from what we refuse to release. Resentment that has lingered for years. Anger that we carry like burning embers. Grief that we have pressed deep into the heart. These inner burdens are poisons heavier than any toxin found in food or air. The Buddha once compared anger to holding a hot coal. We think we are throwing it at another, he said, but in truth, we are burning our own hands. This is the truth of suffering. What we cling to clings to us. What we hold on to holds us back. The art of healing, then, is the art of release. The hidden weight we carry. Imagine a traveler walking a long road with a heavy sack upon his shoulders. Each step grows harder, each breath shorter. Yet when asked why he does not put the sack down, he says, "It contains my past, my stories, my grievances. Without it, who would I be? This traveler is us. We carry memories of betrayal, words that wounded us, regrets that echo in the night. We tell and retell these stories to ourselves until they become our identity. But with each retelling, the sack grows heavier. Zen teaches us that the body remembers. Science now confirms this truth. Chronic anger and resentment increase stress. Hormones weaken the immune system and heighten the risk of heart disease. Grief stored in the body can manifest as fatigue, digestive issues, or chronic pain. Emotional holding is physical holding. The mind and body are not separate. Healing begins the moment we loosen our grip. Forgiveness as medicine. To forgive does not mean to excuse. To let go does not mean to forget. It means freeing yourself from the burden of carrying yesterday into today. Scientific studies reveal what Buddhist masters intuited. Forgiveness lowers blood pressure, IMP, ROVE's, immune response, and even lengthens lifespan. When we forgive, we unclench the fist around our own heart. The body lightens, the breath deepens, the mind clears. The Buddha taught that compassion begins with oneself. By forgiving others, we are not doing them a favor. We are giving medicine to our own heart, a Zen story. The Two Monks and the Woman there is a famous Zen story of two monks traveling together. On their path, they came to a river where a woman stood hesitating, unable to cross. The older monk lifted her onto his back, carried her across the water, and gently set her down. The two monks continued walking in silence. Hours later, the younger monk, unable to contain himself, said, "Brother, how could you do that? We monks are not supposed to touch women." The older monk smiled and replied, "I put her down at the riverbank. Why are you still carrying her?" This story reveals the heart of Zen teaching. Holding on to past events, replaying them endlessly, disturbs the mind and burdens the body. Letting go brings freedom. The lake and the stone Zen often uses images from nature to explain the mind. Imagine your body and mind as a vast, clear lake. Each thought is a stone dropped into the water. A single stone creates ripples that soon pass. But heavy stones of resentment, anger, bitterness, grief sink to the bottom, disturbing the lakes. Clarity. The practice of letting go is like slowly lifting those stones and setting them aside. At first, the lake may still be unsettled, but with time, the waters grow still, reflecting the sky once more. This is not imagination. This is how the nervous system works. By releasing stored anger and grief, the body returns to its natural state of calm, where healing is possible. Guided practice. Breathing out the burden, let us try a simple practice of release through breath. Sit comfortably, close your eyes, and place your hands on your lap. Inhale deeply through the nose. Imagine gathering all tension, resentment, and heaviness into this breath. Hold for a moment. Acknowledge what you are carrying without judgment. Exhale slowly through the mouth. Imagine releasing a burden like smoke leaving your body. Repeat for several cycles. With each exhale, feel yourself becoming lighter. After a few minutes, notice your body. The shoulders soften. The heart feels more spacious. The mind feels clearer. This is the medicine of letting go, non-attachment. Holding life lightly. Zen Buddhism teaches the art of non-attachment. To live without clinging, without trying to hold life still. To be non-attached does not mean being cold or indifferent. It means to love without trying to possess, to live without trying to control, to accept change without fear. The Buddha compared emotions to waves on the ocean. Anger rises, then falls. Grief swells, then subsides. Joy comes, then passes. To be attached is to try to stop the waves. To practice non-attachment is to learn to surf them with grace. When we live this way, the body relaxes, stress fades, the immune system strengthens. The heart heals the strength, and letting go. Many believe that letting go is weakness. That to release anger is to admit defeat. To forgive is to surrender. But in truth, letting go is the greatest strength. It takes courage to release what has defined us, the Buddha once said. Holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned. To put down the coal is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is the strongest medicine. For the heart. Everyday practice of release. Letting go is not a one-time act. It is a daily practice. Here are some ways to practice release in ordinary life when remembering the past, instead of replaying an old argument. Take a mindful breath and whisper to yourself, "That moment has passed." When anger rises, notice the heat in the body. Pause, exhale slowly. Allow the wave to pass without riding it. When grieving, place your hand over your heart. Say, "It is okay to feel." It is also okay to release. When clinging to control, ask yourself, "Can I soften here? Can I trust life?" Each small act of release is like setting down a stone from the heavy sack. With time, the body becomes light again. A blessing of release. The monks of old often ended their teachings with blessings, spoken not as wishes, but as reminders of truth. If you are listening now, let these words be medicine for you. May the burdens you carry become lighter. May the coal of anger slip gently from your hand. May grief soften into compassion. May you discover the strength of letting go. Closing reflection. Healing is not always about adding more medicines, more practices, more effort. Sometimes healing is about less, about releasing, about softening, about setting down what no longer serves. Resentment, anger, grief, these are poisons that cloud the heart. Letting go is the antidote, like a lake returning to stillness, like a traveler setting down his heavy sack. Your body and mind can return to balance the moment you release. Remember, letting go is not weakness. It is the strongest medicine. It is the beginning of true freedom. Chapter 4. The body as a temple of nature. The Buddha often reminded his disciples, this body is made of the earth, of water, of fire, and of air. At first glance, these words may sound poetic, but if we look deeply, we see that they are a profound description of reality. Your bones are built from the minerals of the soil. Your muscles carry the strength of harvested plants and grains. Your blood is the flowing memory of rivers and rain. The warmth you feel in your skin and organs comes from the fire of the sun, passed to you through food and light. Your breath is the endless rhythm of erects, hailed by trees, shared by all. Living beings, this body you call yours is not separate from the world. You are not an isolated creature, standing apart from nature. You are nature itself, walking, breathing, speaking, and experiencing itself. To realize this truth is not merely philosophy, it is medicine. Point 1. The forgotten temple in the ancient villages of India and China, people rose with the sun and rested with the night. They ate food grown in the same soil they walked upon, drank water drawn from clear wells, and sat under trees for shade. Their bodies were not perfect, but they lived in rhythm with the seasons, with the rains, with the stars. Today, much of humanity has wandered far from this natural rhythm. We wake with alarm clocks, not with dawn. We eat food sealed in plastic, flavored more by chemicals than earth. We walk on hard concrete, forgetting the touch of soil on our bare feet. We keep the night bright with electric light, forcing our bodies into a state of wakefulness when they should rest. The temple of the body becomes neglected. Instead of offering it the rituals of natural living sunlight, movement, clean water, deep sleep, we give it stress, toxins, and constant stimulation. And then we wonder why disease arises. Zen Buddhism reminds us, return to the natural rhythm, rebuild the temple. 2. The 4 elements within the Buddhist teaching of the for great elements is not superstition. It is a way to see health as harmony. Earth's solidity, your bones, muscles, teeth, and organs are formed from the minerals of the soil. When you eat whole grains, fresh vegetables, fruits, nuts, and seeds, you replenish the earth element. But when your diet is dominated by refined foods, artificial additives, and lifeless products, the earth element weakens. Bones become brittle, muscles lose tone, the body feels heavy yet fragile. Water fluidity, your blood, lymph, and cellular fluids make up more than 60% of your body. Pure water nourishes every cell, but when we drink sugary drinks, alcohol, or contaminated water, we disturb this balance. Dehydration dries the temple from within, leading to fatigue, inflammation, and illness. Fire, heat, and transformation. This is digestion, metabolism, the warmth that animates life. Fire digests food, thoughts, and experiences. Balanced fire brings energy and vitality, but when it is weak, digestion falters. When excessive, it burns with inflammation, anger, and restlessness. Air movement and breath. Breath is the bridge between body and mind. Without it, life ends within minutes. Shallow, hurried breathing common in stressful living starves the body of oxygen and feeds anxiety. Conscious breathing, however, heals the nervous system and restores peace. When you care for these four elements within, you restore the natural temple of the body. 3. Living in rhythms and practice is not separate from daily life. Healing begins when you live in rhythm with nature again. Rise with the sun. Morning light regulates hormones, awakens the nervous system, and aligns your body clock. Buddhist monks chant at dawn not only for devotion, but also to live in harmony. With this natural rhythm, eat mindfully. Eat food that is close to the earth. A bowl of rice, a handful of greens, clean water. These simple meals sustain far more than complex artificial diets. In mindful eating, each bite becomes medicine. Walk in fresh air. Walking meditation in nature is not exercise alone, communion. Each step is a prayer, each breath a reminder. I belong to the earth, and the earth belongs to me. Rest with the night. To stay awake unnaturally under artificial light disturbs the circadian rhythm. True healing requires deep rest. In darkness, when the body repairs itself, this is not merely spiritual advice. Modern science now confirms what Buddhist monks practiced centuries ago. Circadian alignment, nature exposure, and mindful living prevent disease and extend life. 4. Communion with the earth in Zen monasteries. Walking meditation is practiced with the instruction, walk as if each step is kissing the earth. Such walking is not for fitness alone, is a return to belonging. To place your bare feet on the ground, to feel grass, soil, or sand, is to remind the body of its origin. In modern research, this is called earthing or grounding. Studies suggest that direct contact with the earth stabilizes the body's electrical balance, reduces inflammation, improves sleep, and lowers stress. But beyond science, the simple act of walking mindfully in nature brings stillness. You hear the rustle of leaves, the song of birds, the flowing of water. In such moments, the illusion of separation fades. You do not merely walk on the earth, you walk as the earth. This communion heals not only the body, but also the heart. 5. Story. The Farmer and the Forced. Zen story tells of a farmer who fell ill. He sought many healers, but found no cure. Finally, he visited an old monk who lived in the forest. The monk gave him no medicine. Instead, he said, each day, walk into the forest at dawn. Sit under a tree, place your hands on the soil, breathe deeply. Do this for 90 days. The farmer obeyed, though at first he doubted. But as days passed, something shifted. His body grew lighter, his breath deeper, his mind calmer. By the end of 90 days, the illness that weighed him had vanished. When he returned, he bowed and said, "Master, your medicine is miraculous." The monk smiled and replied, "The forest healed you. I only reminded you to listen." 6. The sacred practices for healing. To remember the body as a temple of nature. Integrate these practices into daily life. Sunlight as medicine. Spend at least 15 minutes in natural sunlight daily. Sunlight regulates hormones, supports vitamin D production, and uplifts mood. In Zen, morning sunlight is seen as a blessing for clarity of mind. Breath of life. Practice mindful breathing. Inhale deeply, feeling air enter like a gift. Exhale fully, releasing tension. Let each breath remind you of your kinship with trees and the sky. Water with gratitude. Drink water as if drinking from the earth's heart. Place both hands on the cup, bow slightly in gratitude, and drink slowly. Gratitude itself changes the way the body receives nourishment. Seasonal eating. Align your food with the seasons. Eat cooling foods in summer, warming foods in winter. This was once natural to all humans, and it harmonizes digestion with nature's cycles. Silence in nature. At least once a week, sit quietly under a tree or near water. Do not check your phone, do not plan, do not analyze. Simply be. This silence repairs what medicine cannot touch. 7. healing the illusion of separation. Much suffering comes from forgetting that we are part of nature. When we act as if the body is a machine to exploit, we burn it with overwork, poison it with toxins, and silence it with pills. But the body is not a machine, it is a temple woven from earth, water, fire, and air. Zen Buddhism teaches that illness is often a message, a whisper from the body temple saying, return to harmony. When you listen, and when you realign with the natural order, healing begins not by force, but by flow. 8. Closing reflections. It quietly now. Close your eyes. Place one hand on your heart, the other on your abdomen. Breathe deeply. Whisper within. This body is the earth. This body is the water. This body is the fire. This body is the air. I am not separate. I am whole. Let these words sink into you. Let your body soften. Healing does not need to be chased. It returns naturally when you honor the temple of nature within. Chapter 5. The Medicine of Stillness and Meditation. The greatest healer within you awakens when you sit in stillness. This truth is not only Buddhist wisdom, but also an ageless law of nature. When the winds cease, the lake reflects the sky. When the mind rests, the body begins to heal. We live in an age where stress has become the unspoken epidemic. It quietly corrodes health, diminishes vitality, and unsettles the heart. Doctors often call it the silent killer, for stress infiltrates the body, unseen, tightening arteries, raising blood pressure, weakening immunity, and fueling disease. Yet, for all its subtle destructiveness, stress has a simple antidote: stillness, meditation. The art of resting deeply in the present moment is the oldest and purest form of medicine. It costs nothing, it requires no prescription, and it has no side effects except peace, clarity, and vitality. For thousands of years, Buddhist monks have turned inward to discover that the body's most profound healing begins not with pills or potions, but with the breath, with silence, and with the willingness to simply sit. The nature of stillness in Zen meditation is called Zazen, literally seated meditation. The instruction is disarmingly simple. Sit down, straighten your back, breathe naturally, and allow everything to be as it is. There is no demand to achieve enlightenment, no struggle to stop thoughts, no grasping for mystical visions. You simply sit. At first, this seems almost absurd. How can sitting quietly do anything for pain, illness, or sorrow? But with time, you discover that stillness is not absence, it is presence. Within stillness, the body and mind return to their natural balance. Imagine a glass of muddy water. If you keep stirring it, the mud never settles. But if you place it down, unmoving, the sediment sinks and the water becomes clear. The mind works the same way. When constantly stirred by worries, judgments, and desires, it becomes clouded. But when you let it rest, clarity emerges, and with clarity, the body's self-healing intelligence awakens. The Buddha's insights. The Buddha himself discovered the medicine of stillness under the Bodhi tree more than 2,500 years ago. After years of exhausting ascetic practices, he realized that forcing the body into pain did not bring freedom, and indulging the body in luxury did not bring peace. He turned instead to balance. Sitting cross-legged beneath the tree, he vowed to remain until truth revealed itself. And what happened? In stillness, he saw clearly. He saw the roots of suffering, desire, aversion, and ignorance, and the path to liberation through awareness, compassion, and wisdom. But before awakening, he experienced something very practical: the profound calm that heals the body. Stories tell that his breath became like a river, steady and deep, and that his mind entered unshakable peace. From that peace, great insight and vitality flowed. Thus, stillness was not merely the door to enlightenment, but also the foundation of well-being. The Buddha often reminded his disciples, within this very body lies the world, the arising of the world, and the cessation of the world. In other words, healing does not come from outside, it arises when the inner turbulence ceases. Science meets meditation today. Modern science confirms what the Buddha intuited. Meditation is no longer dismissed as mystical light is studied in laboratories, hospitals, and universities. Researchers have found that even 10 minutes of daily meditation can reduce cortisol, the primary stress hormone that fuels inflammation, lower blood pressure, and improve heart health, boost immunity, helping the body resist disease, slow cellular aging by lengthening telomeres, the protective caps at the ends of DNA strands, increase gray matter in the brain, especially in regions responsible for memory, empathy, and decision-making, calm the amygdala, the brain's fear center, allowing more balanced responses to challenges. Is this not remarkable? What ancient monks practiced in caves and monasteries is now prescribed by doctors for insomnia, anxiety, chronic pain, and even cancer recovery. Meditation is not alternative medicine. It is the original medicine, as old as the breath itself, the pond of the mind. Consider again the mind as a pond. When wind and rain disturb its surface, the water is muddy and unsettled. But when the air is still, the pond reflects the sky with perfect clarity. Meditation is the stilling of the pond. Thoughts, like falling leaves, may land on the surface, but they do not disturb its depth. With each mindful breath, the sediment of stress sinks, and the waters of consciousness become clear. In that clarity, the body begins to repair itself. Digestion improves, sleep deepens, immunity strengthens, and even wounds heal faster. Scientists call this the relaxation response, but monks know it as the natural state of being when the mind is free from grasping. The practice of stillness. How then can you taste this medicine? Find your seat, sit on a cushion or chair. Keep your back upright but relaxed, like a tree, rooted yet flexible. Rest your hands on your knees or in your lap. Breathe naturally. Do not control the breath. Simply notice it. Inhale, receiving a gift. Exhale as if releasing a burden. Notice the mind thoughts will come. Memories, plans, judgments. Do not push them away. Do not follow them. Just watch them rise and fall like clouds in the sky. Return to the breath. Each time you notice you have drifted, gently return to the breath. This is the whole practice. Begin with time. Start with 5 minutes a day. Gradually allow it to grow. Even monks began with a single breath. End with gratitude. When you rise, place your hand on your heart. Thank yourself for resting. Thank life for giving you this body and this breath. This is the medicine of stillness. Healing through silence. And Master THCHN HTHNH often reminded his students, the greatest miracle is not to walk on water, but to walk on the earth. He meant that when you walk with awareness, when you sit in silence, when you breathe deeply, you are already living a miracle. Many people think healing requires effort, but often it requires the opposite, letting go. Silence is not empty. Silence is full of nourishment. When you give yourself silence, you allow the nervous system to reset, the heart to soften, and the immune system to flourish. The medicine of silence is especially powerful because it heals not only the body, but also the heart. Resentments, regrets, and fears all dissolve when you sit quietly and simply let them pass. A Zen story. The monk and the bamboo. There is a Zen story of a young monk who complained to his master, "Master, my mind is restless. When I sit to meditate, thoughts attack me like birds in the sky. I cannot find peace." The master handed him a piece of bamboo and said, "Hold this in the river." The monk placed the bamboo in the rushing stream. The water pressed and pushed, but the bamboo did not resist it, simply bent, then straightened again. "Do you see?" said the master. "The bamboo does not fight the river. It allows the water to pass, and in that allowing, it remains whole. So too with your thoughts. Let them come and go. Do not fight them, and peace will reveal itself." The monk understood. Stillness does not mean stopping the flow, it means allowing the flow without resistance. Integrating meditation into daily life stillness is not confined to a cushion. You can carry this medicine into every part of life. Walking meditation, walk slowly with each step aware. As if kissing the earth, mindful eating, taste your food fully. Chew slowly, bless the earth that gave it. Mindful breathing at any moment. Pause and take one conscious breath. Let it be your anchor. Mindful, resting, even lying down. Awareness to your body. Rest is also meditation. When meditation becomes a way of living, healing becomes constant. Every breath soothes. Every step restores. Every smile uplifts. The infinite medicine within you do not need to travel far to find healing. The deepest medicine is already inside, your breath, your awareness, your stillness. When you are calm, the body knows how to repair. When you are present, the heart knows how to forgive. When you are silent, the soul remembers its connection to all things. This is the secret of natural healing. You are not separate from life. You are life itself. To return to stillness is to return to your original wholeness. Closing reflections, sit quietly for a moment. Place your hand on your heart. Feel its rhythm, faithful, tireless, patient. Each beat is a gift. Each breath is medicine. The greatest healer is not found in temples or hospitals, but in the sanctuary of your own awareness. Stillness is not passive, it is the most active form of healing, for it restores harmony between body, mind, and spirit. May you take this medicine daily. May you rest in silence, breathe with ease, and discover that peace itself is the most potent cure. Chapter 6. Food as Sacred Medicine. Zen Buddhism. Food is never just food. It is not only calories, nutrients, or a way to silence hunger. Food is life itself. Into fruit, air nourishing every living thing that becomes part of our meal. When we eat, we are receiving the entire universe into our body. In monasteries across Japan, China, and Korea, meals are prepared with deep reverence. The monks do not cook casually or eat mindlessly. The kitchen is itself a sacred hall of practice, and the food prepared within it is treated as a meditation. Every chop of the vegetable knife is performed with presence. Every pot of rice boiling on the stove is seen as a gift from countless beings: the farmers, the soil, the clouds, the insects, the sun. When the bell rings, monks sit in silence with their bowls, holding them as though they were holding the most precious treasure. Before eating, they recite verses. This food is the gift of the whole universe, the earth, the sky, and much hard work. May we eat in mindfulness, so that we may be worthy to receive it. Every grain of rice is honored. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is taken for granted. In this way, food becomes not only nourishment for the body, but also a teaching for the soul. The healing power of mindful eating modern life has largely forgotten this sacred relationship. We eat in a rush, in front of glowing screens, while scrolling on phones, or while speaking without awareness. Our minds are everywhere, but with the food in front of us. We barely chew, we hardly taste, we swallow unconsciously. And in doing so, we rob the body of one of its most natural medicines, mindful nourishment. But when you bring awareness back to eating, healing begins. Digestion improves because the nervous system shifts from stress mode, fight or flight, into rest mode, rest and digest. Nutrients are absorbed more effectively because mindful chewing breaks food down properly. The body receives nourishment more deeply because gratitude itself is medicine. The heart softens because awareness of food awakens appreciation for all the invisible hands that brought it to you. In Zen, we say, when you eat with mindfulness, you do not just feed your body, you feed your spirit. The Buddha's middle path in eating. The Buddha himself taught balance in eating. In his early ascetic years, he starved his body, believing self-denial would lead to awakening. But he realized that extreme deprivation only weakens the mind. Later, when he was offered a bowl of milk rice under the Bodhi tree, he accepted it. That meal gave him the strength to meditate until his enlightenment. From that moment, he taught the middle path: not too much, not too little. Eating should sustain life, not enslave us in desire or weaken us through lack. Eating too much leads to heaviness, sluggishness, and disease. Eating too little leads to weakness, restlessness, and suffering. Eating just enough brings clarity, strength, and peace. The Buddha advised his monks, "Eat to live, do not live to eat." Practical Zen teachings for food, the wisdom of Zen does not live in abstract philosophy, is meant to be practiced in daily life. And one of the simplest yet most profound ways to practice is through food. Here are core Zen teachings on how to make food sacred medicine. Eat slowly, chew thoroughly. Chewing transforms food into sweetness and signals to the body that nourishment is arriving. Each bite can be like a meditation bell, reminding you to return to the present moment. Stop eating when 70% full. The Japanese tradition calls this harahachi bu eating, until you are satisfied but not stuffed. It keeps the body light, digestion smooth, and energy balanced. Favor plant-based, natural foods, vegetables, fruits, grains, beans, seeds, and nuts are closest to the earth's rhythms. They bring vitality without burdening the body with toxins. Avoid processed and artificial substances. What is wrapped in plastic and engineered in factories often lacks life force. Zen practice is about aligning with what is alive. Eat food that still carries the sun within it. Drink water as if you are drinking light. Water is the purest medicine. It carries clarity, and when drunk with mindfulness, it becomes a blessing. To every cell of your body, food as a mirror of mind in Zen. The way you eat is the way you live. If you rush through meals, perhaps you also rush through life. If you consume without awareness, perhaps you are also consuming experiences without truly living them. If you eat to fill emptiness, perhaps you are avoiding deeper hungers of the heart. Food becomes a mirror, showing you your relationship with desire, fear, and contentment. Do you eat out of boredom? Do you eat to numb emotions? Do you eat for pleasure only, forgetting gratitude? Or do you eat with the awareness that every bite is a gift from the cosmos? The next time you sit with a meal, pause before lifting your fork. Look deeply into your food. Can you see the sunlight in the vegetables, the clouds in the water, the farmer's sweat in the grain? Can you see that thousands of conditions have come together so that you may live another day? Scientific confirmation of ancient wisdom. Modern science now confirms what the Buddha and Zen monks practiced intuitively. Research shows that mindful eating reduces overeating and weight gain, improves digestion and nutrient absorption, lowers stress and balances blood sugar levels, supports heart health and gut microbiome diversity, decreases emotional eating, and increases food satisfaction. The simple act of eating with awareness is a medicine, far more powerful than many pills. It brings the body, mind, and spirit back into harmony. The body knows what Zen reminds us. Your body is wise. It is not merely a machine waiting for instructions. It carries ancient intelligence, honed by millions of years of life evolving with the earth. When you eat something that harms, your body whispers through discomfort, bloating, or fatigue. When you eat something that heals, your body responds with lightness, clarity, and energy. The practice is to listen. If the body feels heavy, slow down. If the body feels restless, balance it with grounding foods. If the body feels dry, hydrate deeply. If the body feels inflamed, return to simplicity and plant-based nourishment. Listening to your body is listening to nature itself, because you are not separate from nature. Food as compassion. Finally, food is not only about personal healing, it is also about compassion for the world. Choosing foods that respect the earth, reduce harm to animals, and honor farmers' labor is itself a form of practice. Each meal becomes an offering of kindness, extending healing beyond your own body into the web of life. When you eat mindfully, you eat for all beings. Closing reflection food is medicine. But more than that, food is a teacher. Every meal is an opportunity to awaken gratitude, presence, and compassion. Every bite can be a step on the path to enlightenment. So let us eat not as consumers, but as practitioners. Let us remember that a simple bowl of rice contains the clouds, the rivers, the forests, the mountains, and the love of countless beings. When you eat in this way, the body heals, the heart softens, the mind becomes clear, and food returns to its true purpose, not just to keep you alive, but to remind you that you are life itself. Chapter 7. Healing through compassion and connection in the stillness of Zen. We discover a truth both simple and profound. Isolation weakens the heart, but compassion strengthens it. A human being does not thrive in separation. From the first breath we take as an infant, connection sustains us. The warmth of a mother's embrace, the comfort of a kind word. The simple act of being seen and understood, these are not luxuries, they are medicine. And yet, in the modern world, many people live surrounded by others, but feel deeply alone. The heart contracts, the spirit grows weary, and the body silently bears the weight of this unseen burden. Science now tells us what the Buddha taught centuries ago. Connection heals. Compassion is not only a spiritual virtue, it is also biological medicine. The science of compassion as healing. When we open the heart through kindness, the body responds in measurable ways. Modern research has confirmed that compassion and connection produce oxytocin, often called the bonding hormone or the molecule of trust. Oxytocin lowers blood pressure, reduces the stress hormone cortisol, and strengthens the immune system. Even more fascinating, compassion activates the vagus nerve, which regulates the heart, lungs, and digestion. A compassionate act as simple as placing your hand gently on another's shoulder signals to the body, you are safe, you belong, you are loved. People who live in communities of love and support recover faster from illness, experience less chronic pain, and live longer lives. Loneliness, on the other hand, has been shown to increase the risk of heart disease, stroke, depression, and even premature death. Thus, compassion is not sentimental, it is medicinal. Compassion, in Zen Buddhism's in practice, is rooted in the realization that all beings are interconnected. The Buddha taught that no one exists independently. We are interwoven with the earth, the sky, the food we eat, and the people we meet. To harm another is to harm oneself. To heal another is to heal oneself. In monasteries, monks practice bhavana or loving-kindness meditation. This practice begins with oneself, offering thoughts such as, "May I be healthy, may I be safe, may I be at peace." Then it extends outward to loved ones. "May you be healthy, safe, and peaceful." To neutral people, "May you be healthy, safe, and peaceful." Even to difficult people, "May you be healthy, safe, and peaceful." Finally, to all beings everywhere, "May all beings be healthy, safe, and peaceful." Through this practice, the meditator dissolves the illusion of separation. Compassion flows like water, reaching even those who may not consciously receive it. In giving, we are healed. The medicine of a smile. Compassion does not require grand gestures. Sometimes the smallest acts carry the deepest medicine. A smile shared with a stranger in passing, a kind word spoken at the right moment, the gift of listening, truly listening without judgment or interruption, a gentle touch, reminding someone they are not alone. These are forms of healing available to everyone. No prescription required, no cost, no side effects, only benefits. The Buddha once said, "If you light a lamp for another, it will also brighten your own path." This is the truth of compassion. In giving warmth, our own heart becomes warm. Healing relationships, many illnesses arise, not only from the body, but from the wounds of the heart. Unresolved conflict, unspoken pain, and broken trust create stress that weighs heavily on the body. Healing, therefore, requires not only medicine, but also reconciliation. Zen practice teaches us to cultivate right speech and deep listening. Right speech means words spoken with care, honesty, and kindness. Deep listening means setting aside our judgments and truly hearing the suffering of another. When two people meet in this way with patience, openness, and compassion, healing begins. Old wounds soften. The nervous system relaxes. A bridge is built where once there was only distance. Compassion beyond the human in Zen. Compassion is not limited to humans. The monk bows to the tree, to the river, to the insect crossing the path. Every being is recognized as sharing in the great web of life. When we treat animals and the natural world with kindness, our own heart expands. The medicine of compassion, therefore, extends to all forms of life, feeding a hungry bird in winter, planting a tree to cool future generations, walking gently upon the earth, taking only what we need. Such acts of compassion nourish not only the world, but also the one who performs them. We are healed because we live in harmony. Practical Zen teachings for healing through compassion begin with yourself. True compassion starts with self-compassion. If you constantly criticize yourself, the body feels attacked from within. Speak to yourself with kindness. I forgive you. I accept you. I love you as you are. Practice loving-kindness meditation. Daily spend even 10 minutes each morning or evening, sending thoughts of goodwill. The repetition rewires the brain for empathy and reduces anger, fear, and resentment. Offer presence, not just solutions when someone is suffering. Resist the urge to fix everything. Sometimes the greatest medicine is present, simply being there, fully attentive, holding space for their pain. Small acts, big healing, a handwritten note, a gentle touch, an unexpected word of encouragement. These may seem small, but they create ripples of healing far beyond what you see. Create a circle of connection. Surround yourself with people who uplift you and offer upliftment in return. Healing is amplified in community. Isolation is disease. Connection is cure. Of healing through compassion, Zen stories often reveal truths in ways that philosophy alone cannot. One story tells of a monk who was gravely ill. His brothers in the monastery sat with him, feeding him, washing him, comforting him. A visitor asked the abbot why so many monks spent their time caring for the sick one instead of meditating. The abbot replied, "To care for the sick is to meditate. To wash his body is to cleanse our own hearts." In another story, the Buddha himself tended to a sick monk who had been neglected. He personally washed the monk, then gathered the disciples and said, "Whoever would serve me, let them serve the sick." Here, compassion and healing merge. Service to another is service to oneself, and both are service to the Dharma. The heart as a medicine. Imagine your heart as a great bowl. Every act of compassion fills this bowl with healing nectar. Each smile, each kind thought, each act of generosity adds to the medicine within. And when life brings suffering, you may drink from this bowl and be restored. This is the gift of compassion. It heals not only in the moment of giving, but also in the moments when we ourselves need healing. Conclusion: the healing power of connection is not only what happens inside you, but also what you transmit to others. The immune system grows stronger in kindness. The heart beats more peacefully in love. The mind clears in the presence of compassion. When you smile, when you listen deeply, when you place your hand gently on another's hand, you are giving medicine without pills. You are practicing Zen. You are embodying the Buddhist teaching that all beings are interconnected in the end. Compassion is the most natural healing of all. It is not forced, not fabricated. It flows from recognizing that we are all one. And when we live from this recognition, the body, the mind, and the world itself are healed. Chapter 7. Healing through compassion and connection. The medicine of the heart. There is a truth so simple, so universal, that it can easily be overlooked. Healing begins with the heart, not only the physical heart that pumps blood through our veins, but also the subtle heart of compassion, the center of connection, kindness, and love. In Buddhism, illness is not seen as merely a problem of the body. The Buddha taught that much of our suffering arises from separation, the separation of self from others, of body from mind, of human from nature. When we live cut off, isolated in our own pain, even the smallest wound festers. But when we reconnect through compassion, through kindness, through love, healing arises naturally. Science today confirms what Zen masters have known for centuries. Connection heals. Compassion is medicine. Love is immunity. The hormones and chemicals of the body align with joy when kindness flows. Stress decreases, inflammation lowers, immunity strengthens. A compassionate life is a longer, healthier, more radiant life. The poison of isolation weakens the heart. Compassion strengthens it. To live in isolation does not only mean being physically alone. One can sit in a crowded room surrounded by hundreds of people and yet feel entirely disconnected. Isolation is the deep sense of being cut off from others, from meaning, from love, even from oneself. This disconnection is poison. Studies show that chronic loneliness increases the risk of heart disease, strokes, dementia, and early death. It raises blood pressure and disrupts sleep. It weakens the immune system so that the body struggles even to fight off small infections. The ancient Buddhist texts describe a similar reality in poetic terms. A heart closed to others is like a pond cut off from the river. Slowly, it stagnates. Compassion. When we allow the waters of love and kindness to move through us, the pond becomes fresh again. Compassion as a living force. Compassion is not pity. Compassion is not sentimentality. In Buddhism, compassion, karua, is the natural response of an awakened heart. It is the recognition that the suffering of others is not separate from our own. When the boundary between me and you softens, kindness flows effortlessly. Zen Buddhism emphasizes not only compassion for others, but also compassion for oneself. Without self-compassion, kindness to others becomes shallow or strained. Without self-compassion, we burn out, forcing ourselves to give from an empty well. Thus, healing begins by embracing oneself gently, then extending that tenderness outward like ripples in water. When compassion flows, healing happens not only on the emotional level, but also on the physical. Modern research shows that compassion triggers the release of oxytocin, the hormone of trust and connection. Oxytocin reduces stress hormones like cortisol, lowers blood pressure, and improves heart health. It is no exaggeration to say, compassion is medicine. Metta. Loving kindness meditation. Among the most beloved practices of Buddhism is metta bhavana, the cultivation of loving. The Buddha himself instructed monks and lay people to practice it daily. The method is simple, yet its effects are profound. You sit quietly, breathe deeply, and generate feelings of goodwill. You begin with yourself. May I be safe. May I be healthy. May I be at peace. Then you extend these wishes to a loved one, then to a neutral person, then to someone you find difficult, and finally to all beings everywhere. Metta meditation softens the heart. It dissolves the walls of isolation. It trains the mind to see others not as strangers or enemies, but as fellow travelers in the journey of life. Over time, practitioners report less anger, less anxiety, and more joy. Science has confirmed these effects. MRI scans show that loving meditation strengthens brain regions associated with empathy and positive emotion. Studies demonstrate that it reduces symptoms of depression, anxiety, and even chronic pain. The Buddha's ancient prescription continues to heal minds and bodies thousands of years later. The science of compassionate connection, the language of Zen, is poetry. The language of modern science is measurement. Yet both point to the same truth. Connection heals. Oxytocin release acts as a natural anti-inflammatory and lowers blood pressure. Vagus nerve activation. Compassionate states strengthen vagal tone, improving digestion, heart rate, and resilience to stress. Immune boost. People who feel loved and connected show stronger immune responses to viruses and infections. Longevity. Research shows that people with close compassionate connections live longer and recover faster from illness. It is not only grand acts of kindness that produce these benefits, a smile, a gentle touch, a moment of listening. These small gestures create measurable changes in the body. Every act of compassion, no matter how small, is a dose of healing medicine. Healing in daily life compassion is not limited to meditation, halls, or temples. It can be practiced in every moment of life. In fact, Zen encourages us to see daily life itself as the field of practice. When you smile at a stranger, you plant a seed of healing. When you listen deeply to a friend, release their burden. When you forgive, you free both yourself and the other from poison. When you serve, whether by offering food, care, or kindness, your own heart grows lighter. Even holding someone's hand is an act of medicine. The warmth of touch communicates safety and love, calming the nervous system more deeply than words. Ever could dot stories of compassion and healing in the Zen tradition. Stories often carry teachings more powerfully than lectures. Here is one such story. A monk once asked his master, "How can I heal the suffering of this world? I am only one person." The master replied, "When you pour a single cup of tea with full attention and kindness, you are healing the universe." The monk did not understand at first, but later, while serving tea to a weary traveler, he noticed the traveler's face soften, their shoulders relax. A simple act of presence became medicine. From then on, the monk realized healing begins with the smallest moments of compassion. The mirror of connection in Buddhist psychology, the idea of interbeing is central. Nothing exists independently. Just as a flower cannot bloom without the sun, the soil, the rain, and the gardener, so too a human cannot thrive without connection. When you look into the eyes of another with compassion, you see yourself reflected there. Their healing is your healing. Their joy becomes your joy. Compassion is not charity. It is recognition. It is the realization that we are not separate at all. A Zen reflection sit for a moment and reflect. Who in your life needs compassion right now? Perhaps a family member struggling silently. Perhaps a friend who hides their pain behind laughter. Perhaps even yourself. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, whisper inwardly, "May you be safe. May you be healed. May you be at peace." Notice how, in offering these wishes, your own body softens, your own breath deepens. This is the secret of compassion. It heals the giver as much as the receiver. Practical Zen. Teachings for healing through compassion begin with yourself. Offer kind words inwardly each morning. Practice metta meditation, even 5 minutes. A day reshapes the heart. Offer small kindnesses daily. Smile. Listen, touch, serve. Join community, meditate with others, volunteer, or simply share meals and mindfulness. Heal through forgiveness. Release old resentments. They are poisons to the heart. Listen deeply, often. Listening without judgment is the greatest medicine. Closing reflection healing is not only what happens inside you, but also what you transmit to others. When you smile, when you listen, when you serve, you become a living medicine. Zen Buddhism teaches that compassion is not something we need to manufacture. It is already within us, waiting to flow. When we open the heart, the body follows, stress dissolves, tension eases, energy returns. The path of healing through compassion is not only spiritual, it is biological, emotional, and practical. Each act of kindness nourishes both the giver and the receiver. Each moment of connection repairs the fabric of life. So remember, this teaching, isolation weakens the heart, but compassion strengthens it. May you live as medicine for yourself and for the world. Chapter 8. The Healing of Sleep and Rest in Zen Monasteries. The monks rise before dawn. The sound of the wooden clapper echoes in the silence of early morning, summoning them to meditation. Yet, these same monks also honor rest as an inseparable part of practice. They understand that sleep is not laziness, but nature's own medicine, just as the lotus closes its petals at night and opens at sunrise. The human body, too, follows the rhythm of day and night, eternal dance of activity, and rest of effort and release. Many of us today have forgotten this ancient rhythm. We stay awake long past midnight, our faces lit by the glow of screens, our nervous systems flooded by stimulation. We push ourselves with endless tasks, believing that productivity is life's highest virtue. Yet when sleep is neglected, even the most determined spirit begins to suffer. The body breaks down, the mind becomes restless, and the heart forgets its own song. Zen Buddhism teaches us that healing is not found in struggle, but in harmony, and sleep is harmony in its most natural form. Point 1. Sleep as nature's medicine. Modern science now confirms what monks and sages have known for centuries. Sleep is the body's time of repair. During deep sleep, tissues rebuild, the brain clears out toxins, and the immune system strengthens itself like a vigilant guardian preparing for the next day. In the brain, cerebrospinal fluid flows more freely during deep sleep, washing away waste proteins that, if accumulated, may contribute to diseases like Alzheimer's. In the body, growth hormones are released, repairing muscles, bones, and skin. Even tiny wounds begin their quiet healing process under the veil of night. In the heart, blood pressure lowers and the heartbeat slows, allowing the cardiovascular system to rest. In the soul, dreams arise, sometimes gentle, sometimes fierce-giving, symbolic shape to the emotions and memories we could not face during the day without sleep. These miracles of renewal cannot unfold. Deprived of rest, the immune system weakens. Inflammation rises, the heart strains, and the mind grows foggy. Over time, the absence of good sleep becomes an invisible poison dot. Zen reminds us, healing begins not with more effort, but with surrender. 2. The Zen teaching of balanced in Buddhist practice. Balance is sacred. The Buddha himself taught the middle way, avoiding the extremes of indulgence and deprivation. Activity and rest are no different. They are like inhaling and exhaling. One without the other is incomplete. When we honor rest, we are not stepping away from life. We are stepping into its deeper rhythm. Just as the ocean has tides, just as the seasons turn from growth to stillness, so must the human being follow the cycle of energy and renewal. A Zen saying tells us, to rest deeply is to work wisely. To work wisely is to rest deeply. Rest is not the opposite of progress. It is its foundation. 3. Obstacles to rest in modern life. Of sleep is such a natural gift. Why do so many of us struggle with it? Overwork and exhaustion. Ironically, working too much and burning too much energy makes the body restless rather than restful. The nervous system becomes overstimulated, making true rest difficult. Screens and stimulation, artificial. Light, especially from phones and computers, tricks the brain into believing it is still day. The hormone melatonin responsible for sleep is suppressed. Unfinished tasks. The mind clings to what is incomplete. Bills unpaid, conversations unresolved, projects half done. The heart refuses to rest when the mind is restless. Emotional tension, resentments, worries, and fears often surface at night when silence surrounds us. Many suffer insomnia not from physical causes, but from the weight of unprocessed emotions. Disconnection from nature. In ancient times, people lived with the sun and moon. Today, we live by clocks and deadlines, severed from the rhythms that once guided our sleep. Buddhism does not see these as failures, but as signs that we must return to simplicity. Healing begins when we align our bodies once again with the rhythms of the earth. 4. Rest as a sacred practice in Zen. Sleep is not merely unconsciousness, is a continuation of mindfulness. Monks often say, how you sleep is how you wake. How you wake is how you live. To heal naturally, sleep must be honored as a sacred ritual, not a trivial routine. Consider the following practices as offerings to your body and mind. Dim the lights as the sun sets. Allow your home to grow darker too. This signals the body that night has come, preparing it for rest. Avoid heavy foods at night. The stomach that labors through digestion cannot allow the body to rest fully. Eat lightly, with gratitude. Breathe deeply before bed. 3 slow, mindful breaths can release the weight of the day. Imagine exhaling all worries, inhaling peace. Let go of unfinished tasks. Write down what remains undone. Place it gently aside. Tell yourself, this too will wait until morning. Rest with gratitude as you lie down. Recall 3 blessings of the day. Gratitude softens the heart and calms the nervous system. 5. Metta. Meditation before sleep. One of the most powerful ways to invite restful sleep is the practice of metta bhavana, loving-kindness meditation. As you close your eyes, repeat gently, in your heart, may I be safe, may I be peaceful, may I sleep deeply and wake refreshed. Then extend these wishes outward to your loved ones. May you be safe, may you rest in peace. To strangers you may never meet, may you find rest tonight, even to those who have harmed you. May you be free from suffering. And finally, to all beings, may every creature rest under the protection of night. This meditation not only calms the mind, but transforms sleep into an act of compassion. Your rest becomes part of the healing of the world. 6. A Zen story. The monk. And the pillow of clouds there is an old Zen tale of a wandering monk who never carried a bed. When asked how he could sleep without a pillow, he smiled and said, I rest my head on the clouds, and the earth cradles me like a mother. How can I not sleep deeply? The story is not about clouds, but about trust. When we surrender to the universe, even the hardest ground becomes a pillow. True rest is not found in luxury, but in letting go. 7. Dreams as healing teachers. Buddhism also teaches that dreams are not meaningless. They are mirrors of the mind, showing us our attachments, fears, and desires. Some dreams bring warnings, others bring wisdom. When you sleep with mindfulness, your dreams can become allies in healing. They reveal what the waking mind hides. They show you where you cling, where you fear, and where you must release. Nat Han once said, the night is also a teacher. If you listen with a calm heart, even your dreams will guide you toward peace. 8. Returning to the rhythm of the universe. Every creature follows the rhythm of day and night. The bird returns to its nest. The flower closes its petals. The river grows still under the moon. Only humans resist this rhythm, trying to outpace nature. But the body remembers. When you honor sleep, you return to the great cycle of the universe. You inhale and exhale with the earth herself. You become part of a rhythm older than time. 9. Conclusion. Sleep as a doorway to healing. Sleep is not weakness. It is wisdom. It is the body's natural temple of healing. When you close your eyes with gratitude, when you surrender to the embrace of night, you are not wasting time. You are entering the medicine of the universe. Remember, isolation weakens, connection heals, overwork destroys, rest restores, forgetfulness wounds, mindfulness heals. So tonight when you lie down, let go of all burdens. Rest as if you are being held by the earth herself. Trust the silence. Trust the stillness. Trust that healing does not always require effort. It often requires surrender. And when you wake, rise gently, like the sun over the horizon. Carry the freshness of rest into your day. For in each cycle of sleep and waking, you are reborn into new life. Chapter 9. The Zen Way of Daily Healing. When most people think of healing, their minds turn to hospitals, medicines, or complex treatments. Yet, in Zen Buddhism, the teaching is simple and profound. Healing is not hidden in extraordinary rituals or unreachable secrets, but in the most ordinary moments of daily life. The monk who washes his bowl with care is practicing healing. The grandmother who pours tea slowly, breathing with gratitude, is practicing healing. The child who pauses to watch a butterfly without rushing is practicing healing. Natural healing lives in presence. The Zen way does not separate life into sacred and ordinary, spiritual and mundane. Instead, Zen whispers, all of life is sacred. When touched by awareness, washing your hands can be a prayer. Smiling at a stranger can be medicine. Listening to silence can be more potent than any drug. The medicine of awareness, Thich Nhat Hanh, the great Vietnamese Zen master, often said, the miracle is not to walk on water. The miracle is to walk on the earth fully alive. Healing begins the moment you touch life fully. When you wash your face in the morning, if you feel the cool water, the freshness, the awakening of your skin, then your body and mind are harmonizing. Stress releases. The nervous system calms. The immune system is strengthened simply because you are not fragmented, but whole, present and alive. Modern science now supports what Zen masters have always known. When you slow down and become mindful, your body shifts into its natural healing state. The parasympathetic nervous system activates. Heart rate slows. Digestion improves. Inflammation decreases. Awareness itself is medicine. Healing in the smallest acts. Consider a single breath taken. Unconsciously, it passes unnoticed. Taken with mindfulness, it becomes a thread connecting you to life, to the present moment, to the universe itself. Each mindful breath is a drop of healing nectar entering your body. When you eat with awareness, the food digests differently. Your body absorbs more nutrients, your gut relaxes, and your mind feels satisfied. When you walk with awareness, tension in the muscles dissolves, and each step grounds you in peace. When you smile, not out of politeness, but from true presence, your heart releases oxytocin, lowering stress and lifting mood. Every small act, touched by mindfulness, becomes medicine. The Zen kitchen. Nourishment beyond food. Imagine standing in a kitchen preparing a simple bowl of rice. In a hurry, it is only food. But with presence, it becomes nourishment for body, mind, and spirit. You notice the grain, the water boiling, the steam rising. You feel gratitude to the farmer, the rain, the soil, the sun. Eating that rice mindfully heals not only your hunger, but also your relationship with life. You are no longer consuming carelessly. You are participating in the sacred cycle of nature. Zen tea teaches us that healing is not only about adding something, but about transforming the way we do what we already do. To cook is healing. To eat is healing. To wash dishes afterward is healing. Walking. As a path of recovery, the Zen master's walk is never hurried. Each step is deliberate, gentle, and awake. Walking meditation is one of the most powerful forms of natural healing. When you walk without rushing, your mind begins to settle. The breath deepens, the joints loosen, circulation improves. Scientists have found that even 20 minutes of mindful walking reduces stress hormones and enhances immunity. But more than the physical, mindful walking heals the mind's restlessness. To take a single step fully without chasing the future or clinging to the past is to reclaim your life. And in that reclaiming, healing begins. The healing of silence. Our world of constant noise, silence is medicine. The body craves rest from overstimulation. The mind longs for quiet space. Zen monasteries are filled with silence, not as emptiness but as presence. In silence, the nervous system resets. Thoughts lose their sharpness. Emotions soften. The heart grows still. Even 5 minutes of sitting quietly, breathing, listening to the hum of life can act as a profound natural remedy. Silence heals not by adding more, but by allowing what is already within you to realign. Kindness as a daily cure. When you hold the door for someone, when you listen without judgment, when you place your hand gently on a shoulder, you transmit healing energy. Compassion is not separate from health. Studies show that acts of kindness release endorphins, reduce inflammation, and strengthen immunity. But beyond science, compassion aligns you with your true nature. Zen Buddhism teaches that to heal oneself, one must also heal one's relationships. A harsh word can wound deeply. A gentle word can heal years of pain. Healing is not only what happens within you, but also what you transmit to others. The smile you give to a stranger may ease their suffering more than you will ever know. Simplicity, the forgotten medicine in our pursuit of more and more medicine. More supplements, more therapies. We forget the simplest medicine, simplicity itself. To live simply, to eat simply, to speak simply, to walk simply. To walk simply, this is the Zen way. When you reduce clutter in your environment, your mind relaxes. When you let go of unnecessary possessions, your spirit feels light. When you release complicated desires, your body finds ease. The Buddha himself lived with a bowl, a robe, and little else. His healing did not come from possessions, but from presence. Returning to the body's wisdom, the body already knows how to heal. When you cut your skin, it closes. When you rest, the immune system strengthens. When you breathe deeply, the nervous system balances. The Zen way is not to force the body, but to cooperate with it, to listen to its wisdom. Too often, we override the body with schedules, stimulants, and stress. We ignore fatigue, suppressed hunger, and numb pain. But in Zen, the body is not an obstacle, it is a teacher. To heal daily is to listen. Rest when tired, drink when thirsty, breathe when anxious, stretch when stiff, smile when joy arises. Every moment as medicine. A Zen student once asked his master, "What is enlightenment?" The master replied, "When hungry, eat. When tired, sleep." This teaching is not trivial. It is the essence of natural healing. Enlightenment is not separate from daily life. It is found in aligning with life's natural rhythms. Healing happens not in the future, not in some hidden place, but in each moment of alignment. When you sit quietly, fully aware, you are healing. When you walk gently, fully alive, you are healing. When you drink tea slowly, with gratitude, you are healing. Every moment, if lived with presence, becomes medicine. A Zen reflection. The Zen way of daily healing does not require wealth, status, or even perfect health. It requires awareness, kindness, balance, and simplicity. Healing is not only about curing illness, it is about returning to wholeness. And wholeness is found in the way you live today, in the breath you take now, in the step you walk now, in the word you speak now. You do not need exotic herbs, secret formulas, or expensive treatments. You already have the medicine. It lives in your breath, in your smile, in your presence. This is the Zen way of daily healing, available in every breath, in every step, in every moment of awareness. Closing blessing. May you discover that every ordinary act contains the extraordinary power of healing. May your breath be medicine. May your steps be peace. May your smile be light. And may your life itself become the healing the world needs.